Alright, welcome to ALOLAN MAROWAK for Halloween Cup. Or, well, with Shadowbone. So, Shadowbone is you're gonna get to use Shadowbone AWAC for a very short amount of time. I think like 2 days, because it's coming out pretty soon. And with that being said, ALOLAN MAROWAK with Shadowbone is pretty good. The issue is you're only gonna be able to use it, like I said, for a very short amount of time. I think like 2 days. Anyways, ALOLAN MAROWAK for Halloween Cup is very powerful. So it's able to, as you see, it maxes out near 1500. Yeah, probably have a good one. You're probably already using it for Halloween Cup. So can it give you consistent 5-0s? And is it really worth, like, building the one you have, or just elite TMing it right away if it's available? Now, I'm just doing a quick overview of GoHub. Most of you already, you're already battling in Halloween Cup. So you already know, like, the ins and outs. Yeah. So ALOLAN MAROWAK is very powerful in Halloween Cup. It's able to basically melt things with its fire typing, since it's a fire and ghost type. And it's pretty dang good. Generates energy quickly, bait shields, and it's able to move like a monster. Most commonly used in the back. So ALOLAN MAROWAK has some weaknesses and like a ton of resistances. Basically, Mandibuzz, those Umbreons, Tyrannitars with Smackdown and Crustals are a big one in Halloween Cup right now. You also have those water types, so those Hydro Pump Azumarils, Aqua Tail and Water Gun from Quillfish, and Hydro Pump from Tentacruel. You also have ground typing, so what makes Halloween Cup kind of bad is there's a lot of either like Pokemon with charge moves or Pokemon with those like stab moves that actually do a lot of damage to you. Mainly Drill Run, Bone Club from other Marowaks, and Shadow Balls from like Drifblims, Hex from Drifblims, and ALOLAN MAROWAKs, and just other things, etc. So this is really interesting. ALOLAN MAROWAK also resists bugs, so it resists like those Fury Cutter, it does resist Lunge, you resist the counters from Obstagoon and Toxicroak, Body Slams from Zweilous, Charms from the Charmers, ALOLAN MAROWAK's Fellow Fire Spins, those Grass, Ice, Poison, so like Frostless, plenty of poison to run around, and those Iron Heads from those Wormadams. In other words, ALOLAN MAROWAK is really freaking good. Now, with Shadowbone, it's very powerful. Now, the issue is it's kind of expensive to power up, so you might want to, like, if you don't have a lot of Stardust, or if you don't have a lot of AWAC, or just regular Cubone candy, you might want to be careful about powering one up. And along with that, it maxes out pretty high, around level 29 to like 20 or 29, so it's pretty high on the power up radar. Because of that, ALOLAN MAROWAK is very expensive to power up, but it's incredibly powerful. And with Shadowbone, it may or may not be that's what we're here to figure out. Is Shadowbone MAROWAK worth powering one up or elite TMing it for the last couple of days of Halloween Cup to push you to whatever rank you desire, whether it be 9 or rank 10? Alright, as of right now, ALOLAN MAROWAK ranks at number 2 overall at the Halloween Cup. It's really, like I said, it's really freaking strong. Best used in the lead, takes out Galvantula, Beedrill, Toxicroak, Mawile, and Wigglytuff, but also loses like against Azumarill, Crustle, Tentacruel, Mandibuzz. Basically, you can see all of these. I don't see a lot of Scrafty, you won't see a lot of Mandibuzz either, but you can see Azus, Crustles, and Tentacruels in the lead. But incredibly powerful, is the #1 charger in the Halloween Cup, so that's what makes it really interesting. Would Shadowbone really change where Marowak lands? As you see, it's incredibly powerful in many positions. In the lead, it ranks at number 7. In the closer, it ranks at 27. And as a switch, it ranks at number 6, actually. So it's actually a pretty good safe switch. Now, will Shadowbone give you those extra little, like... Yeah, will it give you that extra power you need to absolutely dominate the meta? Or is it just going to be a liability and not worth the elite charge tier? But the thing about Shadowbone, it's really good. Its stats are really good. It's very powerful. And it looks to be really good for Halloween Cup. The good thing is the Shadow Bone is actually in the data, so we can review the matrix and compare Shadow Bone to Shadow Ball and just see how it does. Alright, so here's the matrix. I'm not going to get too fancy here. We're just going to put Shadow Bone and Shadow Ball as you see here. We're not going to compare it to any other moves. You want Bone Club and Shadow Ball or Bone Club and Shadow Bone. So as you see, I already have the matrix here with the Halloween combat. Here's the 2 shield. We're going to run the sim. And as you see here, Shadow Ball and Shadow Bone do kind of flip things. Well, not really flip things, but it does give you, like, as you see here, in the 2 shield, because ALOLAN Marowak, if you reviewed it, it's best used in the lead. In the lead, you're still going to lose against Azu, but you have a stronger... It looks like you lose harder with Shadow Bone against, depending which moveset, but it's just weird. You'll beat Beedrill just because of Fire Spin. You also lose against Crustle. Unfortunately, Smackdown is just way too good, so you do want to switch out if you see Crustle. It looks like the ratings are the same for Process and Galvantula. I think you just go straight Bone Club. So this doesn't really, yeah, you could just go straight Bone Club. So nothing too fancy for Galvantula. You beat Gardevoir Shadow just because you resist those Fire Spins. And now it looks like having Shadow Bone does flip some matchups. So if you have Shadow Bone, you lose against Golbat. But I think for Golbat, do you just go, do you nuke? Do you go, okay, you Bone Club Shadow Ball. So it looks like Bone Club, like Shadow, oh wait, no, that's Shadow Bone. Oh wait, no, this is Shadow Bone. So actually, Shadow Bone does flip some matchups. So Shadow Bone actually will allow you to beat Golbat in the lead. So here, how does it happen? So, is it very bait dependent? I think it's like super bait dependent. Because Shadow Bone, I think, takes 2 more Fire Spins. Yeah, Golbat wins. So this matchup's bait dependent, but you're able to win against Golbat. You're also able to win against opposing ALOLAN Marowak. So if you do have Shadow Bone, you actually beat it in the 2 shield. You could go straight Bone Club, and then you actually get Shadow Bone and Bone Club at the same time. Now it looks like your Shadow Bone will KO. So that's kind of a big deal. If you're able to catch ALOLAN Marowak mirrors and they don't have Shadow Ball, or you can identify that, then you actually win the lead against opposing Shadow Ball. Here. Now Shadow Mawile, you're just gonna Fire Spin it to death or like Bone Club it to death, so don't worry about too fancy. Everything else seems to be relatively the same, but you do flip 2 notable matchups that you normally don't beat, which is Golbat and Marowak. Now I'd say the mirror is a lot more important, so it looks like Shadow Bone does make a difference in the 2 shield. How about the 1 shield? In the 1 shield, it looks like you beat everything's the same. You do beat Golurk with Shadow Bone. I think this may be date dependent. Let's take a look. Let's see, you bait with Bone Club, of course, then you Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone does heavy damage, almost 90, like literally over 90% of its health. You should be healthy enough to go straight Shadow Bone. Oh no, you can't. So you have to bait, otherwise it beats you to Shadow Punch. So yes, you beat Golurk, but that's a bait dependent win. Let's see, you also beat Tentacruel in the 1 shield. Tentacruel is a huge pain for a lot of AWAC users because Hydro Pump just is able to take you out. But it looks like with Shadow Bone, you might be able to. Let's see. Okay, so Acid Spray, Shadow Bone, they should Acid Spray you. So you have to shield the Hydro Pump if they fire at you. But it looks like with Shadow Bone, you're able to flip this matchup. Yeah. Now it looks like you could flip the Skunt. I wouldn't bank on the Skuntank with Poison Jab. Yes, you do beat it, but I just don't depend on this. Like 504 is still a really good rating. If you have to. So, you do flip the Skuntank matchup in the 1s, but you barely win this. So I think in the 1s you have to bait, and then you have to Shadow Ball. So if you fail to bait, you die anyway. So this isn't super dependent. So 504 isn't a bad rating. Looks like you beat everything else. So 2 notable matchups, Tentacruel and Skuntank. Don't worry about this though, because that's way too close of a rating. That's way too close. Way too close of a rating. But you do beat Tentacruel as long as you can land Shadow Bolt and you bait with Bone Club. That's a pretty good plus. Now if we go down to the 0 shields, it looks like you have a stronger matchup with Beedrill. You beat Golurk and you lose against Haunter. So this is probably one thing in the 0. So in the closer with ALOLAN Marowak with Shadow Bone, it looks like you do lose some closers. You don't have Shadow Ball, so without Shadow Ball, you aren't able to take out this Haunter, and yeah, ouch. Okay. And it looks like with Shadow Ball, yeah, that's kind of big because Haunter is like in the closer a lot. So you could wait. No, you can win straight Bone Club. Yeah, you can win straight Bone Club. Okay, never mind. I lied. You don't worry about this. You actually beat Haunter. Just go straight Bone Club. Yeah, just go straight Bone Club. It looks like you do lose in the mirror just because you aren't able. Shadow Ball gives you that extra oomph to take out mirrors. Yeah. So the Shadow Ball does give you that extra oomph to take out in the mirror. So if you don't have Shadow Ball, this is where it affects you. Everything else is pretty much the same. Nothing else incredibly notable. But it looks like just the Golurk matchup and the fact that you lose against ALOLAN Marowak. Those are two notable ones. So Golurk and AWAK. Mostly the AWAK mirror. Shadow Ball does give you that little... The thing about Shadow Ball versus Shadow Bone, yes, Shadow Bone is less energy and gives you that debuff, but Shadow Ball's nuke ability is really good, so I guess that's where it lies. Obviously, if you are up a shield in this scenario, you win a lot of matchups. It looks like up a shield, you lose against Azumarill with Play Rough and Hydro Pump. As you see here, it literally straight foul plays you. This is where like the nuke potential I'm talking about works out. So you win with Shadow Ball, you lose with Shadow Bone because Shadow Ball is able to nuke Azumarill, as you see here. It's able to get you a Play Rough, and then it's able to Hydro Pump you. So let's see. Can you win if it goes straight Play Rough? So does Shadow Bone win if you call the bait? It does. So this is a bait dependent matchup. But as you see here, you do win convincingly with Shadow Ball. Let's see, you beat everything but Mandibuzz and Umbreon, which are Dark types, and Zweilous. So, other than Dark types and the occasional Azumarill matchup, Shadow Bone does win up shield. So, giving ALOLAN Marowak shields is very good. Giving it 2 shield, I can imagine wipes out a majority of the meta. It does. So, you pick up the Mandibuzz matchup, anything with 2 shields, with a 2 shield advantage, pretty much wins against almost everything. As you see here, you beat everything but Umbreon. So, you do pick up the Mandibuzz matchup with Shadow Bone, which is pretty good. I'm assuming you just go straight Shadow Bone. And yeah, you just go straight Shadow Bone. Remember, Shadow Bone can debuff as well. So if you go into Sandbox mode and you do get debuff and you apply the debuffs right here, as you see here, you get a bigger match. Well, you still have to do the same amount of Shadow Bone, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, you do pick it up with the 2s. The 2-to-1s, it might be a different story. So in the 2-to-1 shield, you pick up practically the same matchups. You're gonna lose against Crustle, but up a shield you lose against. It's like okay, so it looks like it's like you're up in the 1-to-0. So very similar to the 1-to-0s, you just lose against Crustle. So you pick up Crustle. Still very, very good. Still very good. But like I said, it looks like Shadow Ball and Shadow Bone, depending on what you have, it's not super noticeable. Yeah, it's not super noticeable. Yeah, it's not super noticeable at all. You do pick up some matchups here and there, but nothing that really, like, it's not like it flips 5 matchups. So if we go to the multi-battle, as you see here, if we put up ALOLAN Marowak, as you see here, Shadow Ball and Bone Club, let's just do the 1 shield just to make it simple. And we're going to do Halloween Cup. As you see here, your wins are at 74. Now, let's see. And then we're going to do Shadow Bone. Shadow Bone. So you pick up, so let's see, with Shadow Ball you have 131. And with Shadow Bone you pick up 7 more wins, but like as you saw in the relevant meta, it's not super relevant. 7 wins isn't a lot. So it's not a lot to like merit you like catching one and powering one up and then using it. Alright, so here's your guide. This is the technical summary. As you see, PvPoke put a little infograph here to really give you a comparison of Shadow Ball and Shadow Bone. We reviewed it in Matrix and we saw it really doesn't change anything, so it's not too much of it. As you see here, October 31st, so that means that's tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. local time. Now, a good note about this event, you do get 3 remote raid passes and you get 5 regular passes, so I would hunt for ALOLAN Marowaks. Now the thing about it, like I mentioned, you can only get 10, 15, 15. If you watch my ALOLAN Marowak video from the first one, you can't get a really good one for PvP. So your minimum you can get is 10, 15, 15. So you just want to get a bunch of them you can trade, or like I said, use your Elite TM. So here's ALOLAN Marowak in a nutshell. Here's the summary. It's better than mirror matching against better ghosts, as we analyzed. It's less bait dependent. It has that 20% chance to lower the opponent's defense by 1 stage. It's 45 energy versus 55 energy. So it has the potential to flip matchups if you hit the defense drop. At a 20% chance, that's pretty high, but like I said, potential. It can potentially flip matchups if it does hit. However, as you see here, the Shadowbone one, you already have one built. It has better closing power and stronger shield pressure. So if they recognize you have Shadow Ball, like, it's very likely they are going to shield. Now, as you see here, you can, it really sucks because you can only get the raid one. Is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. Is it better than Shadow Ball? Not always. Like it says here, like PvPoke analyzed, and like we saw in the Matrix, there's situations where it's going to be matchless. Like it says here, I would have one Shadow Bone and one Shadow Ball. So keep one or the other, just to keep it. Now, here's where the big question. The raid IV is bad for PvP. So the thing is, ALOLAN Marowak is worth raiding for Shadowbone even with raid IVs. So it's totally worth it. 10, 15, 15 is still a good Marowak to go after. Now, obviously, if you're like me and you're like, if you're really into getting good PvP IVs, then just TM it. But like I said, it doesn't mean it's bad. Plus, you can trade them to your friends. Shadowbone is advantageous in the mirror match. As we analyze, if you have Shadowbone, you win the mirror. So higher attack from raids might be preferable when it's a prevalent pick because you also win CMP. For those of you that don't know what CMP is charge move priority, which means you're going to fire your charge move first before they do. And should you Elite TM your high rank Marowak? First, explore trade options below compares and see if you could obtain a high Shadow Ball Marowak. Like I said, make sure you can trade it. You can trade. Elite TMs are really valuable. Plus, I would get as many Shadow Ball Marowak as you can to trade over before you. It doesn't look like it's going to break. I'll do an analysis for Great League and see if it really breaks Great League, but ALOLAN Marowak with Shadowbone doesn't look like it's going to be super broken. If it's like this for the Halloween Cup, I can't imagine Shadowbone's going to be ultra broken in Great League, so don't worry about it. That, or you can practice with the training sim. So you can consider Elite TM, and if you really like it, it's personal preference. Like I said, there's differences, there's strengths between Shadow Ball and Shadowbone. So it's really up to you. Raid IVs aren't bad, but like it says here for PvPoke, make sure you ask your trading, make sure you ask your base, hey, do you have something, can you trade me this please? So it's not that bad. You can get someone to trade something for you, so don't really worry about it, alright? A high rank Marowak might not be bad at all, but it's totally up to you. Anyways, this event is tomorrow, so good luck, you guys. Make sure you consider whether or not you want to use an Elite TM or not, and to use it for Halloween Cup. You want my honest assessment? It's not too much of a difference. Is it worth it? Maybe. Maybe. The keyword is maybe. As in, if you want to use Shadow Ball and you don't want to waste the Stardust, it's not going to hurt you. Use your Marowak right now. So, it's up to you. It's really up to you. If you have Shadowbone in the mirror and you use it for Halloween Cup, which is for Halloween Cup, then you might have a good advantage. So, in the mirror. So, it really depends. It really depends. And, yeah, it really depends. It's really up to you. Again, you have a stronger matchup in the mirror, and that's pretty much, you have a stronger matchup in the mirror. That's really the worth. Would I do it? No. Would I personally do it? No. But like I said, it's up to you. It's not too much of a difference. It's more like personal preference. For me, would I power one up? Maybe, just because I have a ton of Stardust. But in all honesty, me personally, what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to just get Elite TM one. I have a bunch of ALOLAN Marowak that I caught from GoFest that I can Elite TM over, rather than worry about someone trading one to me and worrying about in the future. As much as I love hoarding Elite TMs, they're meant to be used. But yeah, it's basically up to you. It's personal preference. Anyways, good luck, you guys. I hope you get a good AWAC traded to you, or you get that good 10-15 one from raids. Again, you do get free raid passes. So if you're not going to go on raid, you can solo ALOLAN MAROWAK. As you see here, it's very soloable. You can, a lot of you might have these mons. If not, grab your local friend and go take out these AWACs. But if you want to do it on your own, as you see here, it's very doable by yourself. You guys have a great day, and I will see you guys on the next video.